Good morning. For those of you who I haven't met, I'm Steve Newmark. I'm president of Roush-Fenway Racing, and welcome to the Roush-Fenway portion of NASCAR Media Week. I had been tasked with doing a brief introduction, and then I'll turn it over to Doug, and he'll bring out the real attraction. So if you'll bear with me, just have a couple things I want to tick off. First, I want to thank and express our gratitude to Ford Motor Company. Obviously, Ford has been integral to everything that we do, and we're appreciative of Dave Parasak, Tim Doerr, and Henry Ford III joining us today. And although I know this is about NASCAR, I would encourage you, if you get a chance, to talk to them about the new Ford GT that's coming out. It's a pretty amazing vehicle. Second, on behalf of the entire Roush-Fenway organization, wanted to express very heartfelt and sincere thanks to each member of the media. It's well documented, often by you, of the trials and tribulations that the drivers, crew members, team members, and all of our families go through because of the grueling season. We're very fortunate to be in this sport, but it's obviously a long season, and that's often talked about. But what I think is overlooked in that situation is that the media is with us every step of the way, and I guess I would bet that on most race weekends, the first people to the track are the media, and the last people to leave the track are the media as well. So thank you for what you guys do to make our sport relevant and to elevate it to the level it is. And then lastly, I just want to pass along an observation. Among the halls of Roush-Fenway for the last few months, there's been a level of excitement and energy that is kind of unparalleled since I've been involved in this sport. And I think it's been well documented over the last few months as some of the changes that we've been undergoing, adding new talent, restructuring how we operate, all with an effort to continue to improve performance on the track. And I think that when you see the effort and the energy that's been put into it, it's far exceeded my expectations. And it's the reason that you're going to hear a lot about the confidence and the optimism that each member of our organization has about the success that we're going to have on the track in 2016. Now, I recognize that for every race team or every sports team coming up to a new season, that hope springs eternal, and that we're ultimately going to be measured on how we do on the track. And we're in a beautiful sport in which we get a report card every week that tells us how we're doing. But I can tell you that we're unbelievably ready to get out on the track and be able to showcase the talent of the guys that are going to come up here, and are really excited about having a successful season for 2016. With that said, let me turn it over to Mr. Rice to lead us to the next step.
Thank you very much, Steve. We're going to introduce all of the drivers for Roush-Fenway Racing. First of all, coming off a very strong rookie campaign, returning for his second season in the Xfinity Series, and looking to compete this year for the Xfinity Series Championship, and trying out that new chase format, driver the number 6 Ford EcoBoost Mustang, Bubba Wallace. It's okay to clap. Next up is last year's winner of the inaugural Xfinity race at Daytona International Speedway, driver the number 16 Lilly Diabetes, American Diabetes Association Ford Mustang, Ryan Reed. And a guy that is making his debut full-time in the Sprint Cup Series in an alliance between Roush-Fenway and Front Row Motorsports, driver of the number 34 Ford Fusion for Front Row Motorsports, the 2015 Xfinity Series champion, Chris Buescher. Come on out, Chris. And now we will segue over into the 2016 Sprint Cup lineup for Roush-Fenway Racing. He's still the youngest winner of the Daytona 500. He took the checkered flag in 2011, and he's also the driver of the number 6 Advocare Ford Fusion. Welcome, Trevor Bayne. Trevor? Time gets by fast. This guy is back for his 4th full-time season in the Sprint Cup Series. He's the driver of the number 17 Fastenal Ford Fusion, 2-time NASCAR champ, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And it's been pretty well documented that the next driver is looking to pull off the trifecta and win a championship at all 3 major levels in NASCAR. He's been pretty close. He's the driver of the number 16 Cheez-It Ford Fusion, 2-time NASCAR champ, Greg Biffle. And the last guy in this lineup is the personification of a true racer. You all know that. He has been hauling race cars around the country for half a century. His dedication and desire pretty much unmatched in the business. affectionately known as the Cat in the Hat, 8-time NASCAR champion car owner Jack Roush. Come on out, Mr. Roush. I'm always relieved when I introduce him as the Cat in the Hat and he actually comes out with a hat on. That makes life a little bit better. All right, we'll start this off with Bubba Wallace. Bubba, talk about heading into the 2016 season with a full-time Xfinity season behind you, experience. You've been to all of these tracks, level of excitement.
I'm ready to go. I wish Daytona was kind of this weekend coming up. Like Steve said earlier, there's been a lot of things going on behind the scenes over at Roush-Fenway. So consolidating into one shop is I think that's a huge thing for all of us to bounce ideas from drivers, from crew chiefs to engineers, to have one game plan really going to each and every racetrack this year. I can't thank Jack enough for the opportunity again. Also, people from Ford here, thank you. It was an exciting season last year for us. We were so close to getting our first victory, but this one we're very confident that we can do it. Heading into Daytona, got a lot of exciting things happening behind closed doors, but it is safe to announce that we will have a sponsor for that race, Selfio. Can't thank everybody enough from that organization for coming on board to make this race happen. The car looks great. It'll look better with some confetti on it, and make sure that happens.
Cars always do look better with confetti. Speaking of confetti on cars, Ryan Reed, we're coming up on the one-year anniversary of a big win for you at Daytona International Speedway. How anxious, Bubba talked about it, are you to get back to Daytona?
Oh, man, really excited, not just because I won there, just because it's Daytona, anytime you're headed to Daytona, you're excited. Obviously, it was pretty special last year when Ford just dominated all the speed weeks down there, so really just proud to contribute to that. And, just echo what Steve said, I think that I've been there only 3 years, but still it's 3 years, and I've never seen this level of commitment to just really excelling in the sport. Everyone between Ford and Roush-Fenway, and then obviously with my partnership with Lilly Diabetes and American Diabetes Association, just so proud to be a part of this organization right now. The amount of effort that's been put in is pretty unreal. I've never seen anything like it. So I'm just ready to get the year started with Phil and all this new group of guys that we got behind us on the 16 team, and just ready to go out there and make everyone proud, and not just win Daytona, but win a lot more races than that. And with the new chase format, really excited about having the opportunity to contend in a chase style format, and hopefully get my first Xfinity Series championship.
All right, thanks a lot, Ryan. Chris, strange year for you. You're the defending Xfinity Series champion, but you don't get a chance to defend the title. I guess that's the bad news. The good news is full-time ride in the Cup Series. Talk about the whole year, and I guess a set of mixed emotions for you heading into 2016.
Yeah, it's unfortunately won't get to defend the title, but it's an exciting format. I think it's going to make for some great racing as we get into the end of this season on the Xfinity side. But really looking forward to this season on the Cup side of things. There's a lot of change, a lot of different things going on, and everything is in motion. So we have Love's Travel Stops on board as a new sponsor with a new organization with Front Row Motorsports, which I did get to run a handful of races last year and kind of get my feet wet there and get a little bit of an understanding of what's going to happen. So it's got a new crew chief with Bob Osborne over trying to build that relationship for this year. And like everyone said, I mean, we got a great bunch of people, a lot of new stuff happening, and I think the alliance between Front Row Motorsports and Roush-Fenway is going to help both parties involved. So looking forward to having a great year, and trying to keep everything out of trouble and keep cars clean and come home and try and get a spot in the chase and go for that Rookie of the Year.
Well, best of luck in your first full-time season in Cup racing. A lot of talk about change at Roush-Fenway. That also applies to Trevor Bayne. This will be his first full-time season as a dad, so that's a big change and a lot of changing. And also a new crew chief in Matt Pusha. So talk about this season of 2016 that does represent a lot of change for Trevor Bayne.
Well, I'm really glad we had an off-season baby, because I don't know if I'd make it to driver intros in time if it was in the regular season. But, I'm really, as these guys have said, we're excited for this year. I think last year our expectation going into it was to set things up to where we could get better. I think what Mark McCardle brought in with organization, what Kevin Kidd brought in with communication, has set us up to be able to use our people, our assets better. And that's where we're at now at Roush-Fenway Racing. I think we're at the point where we saw last season some progress. We saw with the 2016 Aero package that we were better at Kentucky and Darlington, two of our strongest races. So we look forward to that this season, and hopefully we've made even more improvements. We look forward to the additions that we've brought in engineering and aero and all across the board as a global unit at Roush-Fenway Racing. But as importantly, I look forward to what we've done on the 6 team with Matt Pusha coming on board with my team. I've known Matt since 2010 when I came to Roush-Fenway Racing. I think he was crew chiefing Paul Menard at the time, and he was the guy bouncing around the shop, talking to every driver, talking to all the crew chiefs, trying to figure out his race cars. And I've always liked that about Matt. I feel like we're hitting it off already. We've had a lot of discussions about our cars already and plans, and I feel like we're kind of ahead of the game on that. So I'm looking forward to that. Also on my team, we've had some other additions that I think will be good, whether it be in the spotter category or mechanics and across the board there. So I'm looking forward to all that. On top of that, we've got some more newness with a paint scheme. Ran the same paint scheme kind of from Xfinity to Sprint Cup last year, but now we have a new paint scheme that will be released later on with Advocare, and I can't wait for that to be shown so you guys can get excited about it. I know I'm pumped about it, so we're ready to go.
All right, thanks a lot, Trevor. Ricky, it looked like your team last year in the second half of the season had a real uptick. You guys were trending positively. You and Nick Sandler worked really well together last year. What kind of feeling does that give you personally heading into this new campaign?
Yeah, it's nice to go into this off season knowing that we weren't going to have any changes on the 17 team. Everybody is staying together. It'll be my first time in the Sprint Cup Series to have the same group of guys, both in 2 years in a row. So I thought Nick and I and Mike working all together had a really good end of the year together and an off season together, hanging out, having the whole team over the house, just hanging out with everybody and, making sure that our communications and our commitment to one another was as best that we could make it. And, I think that's going to be very important for the 17 team to use all the resources and, that Roush-Fenway and our organization is going to give us to go out and perform the best that we can. And, I think just the commitment to each other and to being better each and every week paid off for us last year. So we're looking forward to continuing that process throughout this season. And, we got our great partners, Fastenal, Fifth Third, and Zest back on board. So those are we're trying to have a good season for them as well. So I think that this year is going to be an important year for us, but also I think it's got potential to be one of our best years in the Sprint Cup Series.
Thank you very much, Ricky. And finally, a guy that has tasted a high level of success on the Sprint Cup Series, Greg Biffle. Greg, you're developing a new relationship, new crew chief, a name that we're all familiar with, Brian Patty. Talk about the relationship as we're ready to jump into a new year.
Yeah, we're really excited about all the changes at Roush-Fenway as a whole. We've got a bunch of new people on board, including Brian Patty, and a lot of people don't know that I've worked with Brian Patty in the past. We've won a couple races together, short amount of time we spent working together. So it was. I'm excited to have him back on board, and possibly bring some technology over from another team, which gives us an opportunity to get a little bit of an outside look at, just always trying to learn something, setup-wise or the way they run a shop or build a car or anything else. So that's good for our organization, and continue to make our cars better. We're excited about all the changes that the Ford camp is getting over the winter. So look forward to Daytona and on to these races. I think it's going to be a great season for us. We were trending in the right direction the end of 2015. So we know with these changes, certainly we're going to continue, like Ricky mentioned, the low downforce for 2016. That was two of our best races in the Cup Series. Trevor, Ricky, and myself both, all three of us ran very good at Kentucky and Darlington. So we know that's going to be the package for for 2016, and we think that that's going to be good for us.
And lastly, we'll hear from Jack Roush. And Jack, as we've heard all of your drivers talk here, two words jump out to me. One is excited, which obviously everybody is this time of the year, and the other is change. So you've heard from all of your drivers this morning. What stands out to you about this lineup and your organization as you head into your 29th NASCAR season?
Well, kind of taking it off, Roush-Fenway's in a great place for the 2016 season. We've got a lot of changes in place, and yet we've got a lot of continuity with things that have been good for us in the past. Looking at the management team that we've got on the toolboxes, on the pit boxes, the guys that we've got heading up the departments in the shop, and of course the general manager, the top management of the company, is a blend of the promote from within philosophy that we've had to build on experience and potential that people had to give them continually more responsibility. And we've added 3 posts on our organization chart for outsiders that have come in that are going to help us with the transition as NASCAR becomes less of a crew chief driven organization and more of a technical driven organization. So I'm really excited about the way the organization is shaped up. Our driver lineup has got the drivers that have won 5 of our 8 championships in the Cup, Truck, and Xfinity down through the years, and we've got a number of rookie drivers and some in the wings and some in our cars that have got great potential. We don't have anybody in one of our cars as a rookie this year that's really a rookie. They've not realized their potential yet, but they've all got more than 1 year of experience, or at least 1 year of experience in the cars that they're in. So that's all good. I've never felt more excitement as I walk through the shop and as I monitor the meetings. I don't have many meetings anymore in the organization, but I monitor all that I can. And I never felt more enthusiasm to get speed in the cars as they come off the truck, to race for wins at the individual events, to compete for championships, and to build the careers of everybody involved. We've got great marquee sponsors that are on the board here behind me, and we're partnered with some of the best companies in our economy that have realized the benefit that can be derived from being involved with teams in NASCAR. The NASCAR organization itself has gone through a number of changes. The obvious one is the technical change for the Cup Series that we're all excited about, because we think it'll move in the direction of the drivers' interest and their preference for the way the cars balance. But some of the organizational changes to the social media initiatives that they made and the other things that they've done to generate new ideas for the sport, I think will be good for everybody that's involved going down the road. I can't say enough about Ford Motor Company. Ford's been with us for the 28 years in Cup, and for 20 years before that doing other things in drag racing and road racing. And Ford has filled our toolbox with tools that are cutting edge. No manufacturer's bringing more to the table than Ford has. The simulators, the simulations, and all the data reduction and analysis services are available to us. And they've added, in the technical side of their support group, they've added in the last 3 years 3 times the number of people involved, and the amount of support you get at the racetrack and in the factory administrative offices has never been greater. So we appreciate the Ford partnership, appreciate all the support from the drivers, and look forward to a great year in 2016.
Well, Jack, thanks to you and your team for being here today. Thanks to everyone in attendance. I know that Scott Cooper has a couple of directional comments here, and thank you for being a part of the 2016 media tour here. Scott?
Thank you very much, Doug. Again, Jack, thank you so much for helping us get our Wednesday here on Ford Wednesday kicked off, and Steve, you as well. Certainly wish you guys the best of luck in 2016.